So when we talk about this world, when we look at the way this world is orchestrated, um, you know, the easiest way to really look at this world and kind of have some sort of understanding is a lot of this world, if not most of it, goes strictly against what God wanted, right? And when we talk about lust, when we talk about sexual immorality, um, that's probably the most prevalent issue we have, in modern society, especially with men, men being so lustful. 90% of men visit pornography on a monthly basis. So uh, just think, if you walk into a room and it's 10 men, nine of those men watch pornography on a monthly basis. They tune in at least once, right? So this is such a huge prevalent issue. And a huge reason that is the agendas that have been pushed against us. It's all spiritual warfare. At the end of the day, it's all spiritual warfare, right? I just dropped a video. If you haven't, go tap in with it. Um, the devil in Job, he said, I roam the earth going back and forth, right? So the people that rule the world, the powers that be, the people with the power to put different things in the algorithm where if you make a new social media account, all it is women without shirts on. All it is women in seductive clothing. All it is things pushing you to want to be in a lustful state, right? You have to understand it's all an agenda. If the men are weak, because men are the leaders, the nation will be weak. And we see that more and more. Um, Masculinity, men who have wisdom, who have discernment, who aren't lust bound, because the truth is, man, you can be rich, you can be successful, you can have all of your desires of this world, right? But you can still be a slave to your lust. So you might look up to different people or look up to different men, but the reality is they're still a slave to their flesh. And God speaks directly against that. God tells us to be abstinent, not to have sex outside of marriage. Wait until you have your spouse, right? And Proverbs 7, talks about this, talks about the adulterous woman, the seductive woman. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm probably going to read this whole thing, I'm not going to lie, but we're going to start in Proverbs 7:4. It says, say to wisdom, you are my sister, and to insight, you are my relative. They will keep you from the adulterous woman. Now, adulteress is you're married and you're having relations outside of your marriage, right? But we can still apply this to just wayward women. We can still apply this to women who are literally trying to drain you, right? To people who are literally trying to drain you, who see you are successful and want to take you off that path. Delilahs, Jezebels. You get what I'm saying? You can apply this proverb to other aspects of your life. You can apply this to any woman that is not your wife. You get what I'm saying? So the first thing God is telling us, man, is to grab onto wisdom, hold on to wisdom. See, a lot of men, they don't know what to do. The Bible gives us instructions on how to flee lust, right? You flee it. Notice I didn't say you beat it. You flee it. You have to run away from it. If you're alone with a woman and it's 11 o'clock at night and the lights are off and you're watching Netflix, what do you think is going to happen? If you're out at a bar and you're drunk and she's drunk, and what type of position do you think you're going to be in if you Uber home with her, right? If you go home with her. So getting back into it, right? Because you have to run away from it. You can't put yourself in certain positions or you're going to fall short. That's what I'm saying. You're going to fall short, right? So it says, say to wisdom, you are my sister, and to insight, you are my relative. They will keep you from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words. You have to understand, man, these women nowadays are very seductive, very seducing, right? Men can be as well, right? But when we read this scripture, it says, warning against the adulterous woman, right? As men of God, what a lot of men don't understand is lust is honestly, it's not the only thing, but for a lot of men, it's the only thing holding you back. You lack energy. Why? Because you're lustful, because you're consistently letting go of your seed. Testosterone builds up by withholding, right? So you lack energy to uh, fix your problems and to step into your purpose and to be productive because you're always watching the corn. You're always sleeping with women who mean nothing to you, who have um, no substantial value other than sex, right? You don't have wisdom about life. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to get over your obstacles and to get over your trials and tribulations in life. Why? Because how can you have wisdom when you are frying your brain cells on a daily basis? You know what I'm saying? Those are just a couple examples, but a lot of men don't understand. Lust is the core reason for a lot of the things that you lack. You lack confidence. You lack the ability to go and take what is yours, right? An opportunity or a job, or say you have an interview and you're so anxious you bomb the interview, right? Why? Because you don't have the confidence, because it's being taken away from you subconsciously, because you keep indulging in sinful activities, brother. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back into the scripture. At the window of her house, and this is chapter 7:6, verse 6. At the window of my house, I looked down through the lattice. I saw among the simple, I noticed among the young men, a youth who had no sense. He was going down the street near her corner, walking along the direction of her house. At twilight, as the day was fading, as the dark night set in, then came out a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute and with crafty intent. Bro, um, all you have to do, man, is go to a bar or a club. Don't do that, right? But I'm on TikTok. I see TikToks all the time, different men approaching different women. What does the scripture say? Dressed like a prostitute with crafty intent. The way God paints this picture for us, the way the Bible paints this picture for us, we see on a daily basis. Well, because the Bible literally gives you the playbook and literally draws out everything that we are going to experience, everything we're experiencing on a day-to-day basis. But it says, then came out a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute with crafty intent. She is unruly and defiant. Her feet never stay at home. Now in the street, now in the squares, at every corner she lurks. She took a hold of him and kissed him, and with brazen face she said, today I fulfill my vows and I have food for my fellow. So I'm going to skip down a little. It says, I have covered my bed with colored linens from Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's drink deeply of love till morning. Let's enjoy our lives with love, right? And you have to understand, man, like the day and age we live now, you know, because we have to understand we are not of the world. Okay, a man of God is not a worldly man, right? A worldly man and a man of God are two separate things, two totally different things. God has called us not to be lustful. God has called us to be disciplined. God has told us to love one woman. Okay, in Ecclesiastes it says, enjoy life with the woman you love, for that is one of your rewards in this life. It's nothing wrong with wanting a woman. It's nothing wrong with, wanting to experience life with women. The problem is you want to do it with women, plural, not just one woman, right? And that's why it's so important to get rid of this lust and stop putting ourselves in positions like this, right? And I'm going to finish it, because when we do that, then you attract what you are. The easiest way to describe relationships, man, is you are what you attract. You are not going to attract a woman of substance if you are not a man of substance. No, and just highlighting something real quick. The scripture says she is unruly and defiant. Her feet never stay at home. How many women are like that nowadays? How many women? Every time I get on YouTube or I get on the apps, Every man's complaint is how women, I'm going to use those same exact words, are unruly and defiant, right? There is no reasoning with them. They want to do what they want to do. They want it when they want it. They want it how they want it. You get what I'm saying? And even though these women are like that, men are still choosing to indulge in a lifestyle where that is the type of women they will attract. You get what I'm saying? And that's why it's so important to go to the scripture so that we know how to live a righteous lifestyle where not only are we a man of God, where you have the wisdom and discernment to not even deal with women like that, but you build yourself up in a way where then God can give you one of his daughters, one of his Proverbs 31 women. But to finish, the end of the chapter, it says, with her persuasive words, she led him astray. She seduced him with her smooth talk. All at once, he followed her, like an ox going to slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose, till an arrow pierces his liver, like a bird darting into a snare, little knowing it will cost his life. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Pay attention to what I say. Do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray into her paths. Many are the victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is a highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death. I don't know how much more y'all need. I don't know how much more, because the reality is this. Every great man is susceptible to his kingdom falling if he is a lustful man. King Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, what was he a victim of? Lust. Samson, the strongest man ever, what was he a victim of? Lust. Why do you think that you are any different? Why do you think that you can continue to live this detrimental lifestyle? Why do we, right? Now, I'm going to say we because I once fell short, right? But that was a time ago. That was years ago. It doesn't matter who you are. If you are living a lustful lifestyle, it is going to lead you to death, to the chambers of death. Many men have been victims to seductive women, to women who meant them no good, who didn't mean them any positivity other than to drain them of their resources, to drain them of their mental capacity, of their money, of their whatever. And we see this on a day-to-day basis, and men think it's still okay to indulge in these lustful lifestyle choices, right? Man. And it's so important, to keep the word in our heart, right? To continuously go back to scripture. And of course, to move accordingly, right? And what is moving accordingly? Fleeing. I'm not going to lie, bro. You're probably going to be, a little bored from time to time, right? Because you're in the house and you're not out at the bar, right? If you're the type of man where, you like to go to the bar, to the strip club or whatever it is, once you turn away from that for a while, it's going to, you're going to be bored. You're going to feel like, man, what am I doing, right? But you have to understand that's a part of the process. Lust is not something you're going to get over in a day, in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, in 6 months. It's not something that is a easy thing to overcome, right? And that's because of the years and years and years of being indoctrinated to think it's okay, right? You have that sex drive, you have, those hormones and things like that because yes, you are meant to reproduce. You are meant to have a wife. You are meant to have a family. You are meant, right, to carry out all those things, right? But it has to be the right way, and that's why it's so important, man. You have to understand, giving into those things, you're a victim to your flesh, man. I know that red pill is going to tell you having a roster and sleeping with all these different women is what you're supposed to be doing, right? But the Bible tells us something else. The Bible tells us something else, man. Do you want to listen to God or do you want to listen to man? And I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.